Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on InspireSmall.biz. Every Monday at 3 o'clock, a new episode of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show goes up on the website. I want to thank Ryan Henry, the major domo and founder of InspireSmall.biz, for inviting me to do my YouTube interviews. Who am I? I'm Danny O'Malia. I'm Indy's Trusted Servant. What is Indy's Trusted Servant? Well, I do customer service training and keynote speaking about customer service and organizational culture. The service is all about the organizational culture. Learned all that from the hand of the master, my late father, Joe O'Malia, back in the Joe O'Malia food market days, and even before that, at the age of 9, he had me working in a grocery store. If you want to learn more about all of that, why, give me a call at 317-413-9062. What's the Indy's Trusted Servant Show? I like to describe it as lively local small biz and community talk where you can feel the pulse of Indy. And today my guest is a fellow Rotarian with the Indianapolis Rotary and a good friend, Lisa Rawlings, and she is with the Central Indiana Police Foundation. That's the correct title, right?
Yeah.
And has been for several years. Prior to that, she was with a CPA firm, and she brought me in to do a keynote speech at the CPA firm back in the day. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, it's good to have you here. Tell the viewers, and I finally got used to saying viewers instead of listeners, because it used to be radio and now it's YouTube.
Old habits are hard to break.
They are hard to break, especially when you're 74 years old. But tell the viewers a little bit about your background and where you grew up and what you studied and how you got to where you are now.
Oh, yeah, interesting. So never dreamed I'd be doing this, that's for sure. But I went to college at Ohio State University. I grew up in West Virginia, but went to Ohio State University. And
where in West Virginia, by the way?
Oh, a little town called Mannington near Fairmont.
Okay.
The home of Mary Lou Retton.
Oh, yeah, Fairmont.
She and I are the same age, just a few months apart.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, went to Ohio State, studied psychology and communications. At that time, my plan was to work in higher education. Applied for my master's program, was put on a wait list, and never went back to school and just kept working.
Okay, where'd you start out?
So started out at Miami Jacobs Business College in Dayton, Ohio. I was in admissions there, and then went to Miami of Ohio campus, and then went to a student loan lender and started marketing student loans and did that for several years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when did you get to Indianapolis?
2000.
Okay. What brought you here?
Was working with Citibank, Student Loan Corporation.
Okay, student loans back then.
Mm-hmm.
So what since then?
Yeah,
That's 22 years ago, Lord Almighty.
Yeah, that makes me feel old. I worked a couple years marketing payroll, and I worked a couple years marketing a polyurethane to line manholes, which that was an experience in and of itself.
I bet that might be a whole show.
Yeah, one of the few women in that industry. So I had my big hoop earrings and my steel-toed boots when I would go on site. But and then ended up at a CPA firm for about 5 years, and loved working with the nonprofits with that CPA firm because the owner of our firm was very philanthropic. And just kept thinking, I'm ready for a change. I would love to be in the nonprofit world, but then I was concerned about a huge pay cut.
Yeah. You were marketing for, and do we want to mention the name of the firm?
Yeah, Simon Spitzer
Simon Spitzer, yeah, on the south side.
Greg Simons is the proprietor, and he's a good man. Really enjoyed working for him and learned a lot. But we did a lot of work with the nonprofits, and when this position came up, I just thought, oh, I could really get behind it. And I found the pay range, and I'm like, okay, that's good. And so I've been here now going on 4 years with the Central Indiana Police Foundation.
So, okay, now that brings us up to the current day. Tell us about the Central Indiana Police Foundation, the mission, when it was founded, and then we'll talk about some specific things that they do that our viewers are going to love to find out.
Yeah, okay. So the foundation was started in late 2013, and the goal was to provide support for our local law enforcement officers. And that support can be in a few different areas. So one, we call it Code 1. So if an officer is injured or killed in the line of duty, we support him or her and their families. You may remember April 9th, 2020, we lost IMPD officer Brienne Leith. And so was on the east side and was shot and killed in a domestic dispute.
She the one that had the funeral at the Speedway?
She did.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was.
So we walked beside her parents and the father of her child, and we've had the pleasure of getting to meet little Zane, and we collected funds and developed a trust fund for Zane and put some people into place to make sure that those funds were spent wisely on his behalf. Then the other area is we provide help. Anytime we can bring an officer with our community and have a positive interaction, maybe it's a national night out, or it's some sort of a fun fair with games and such for children, or bringing food in.
Would the police come and speak at a school, for instance?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some officers that their whole role as the public information officer is to build bridges with the community, and we just come alongside that and support with financial help, or we come and serve at that event, maybe help with registration or give away toys or whatever that is. So we like to be able to support that and help fund those activities. And the final thing, I think one of the reasons that you were really interested in finding out more about was our Invest in Blue, which provides equipment for officers to help do their job better and to help our citizens better. And so one of the big things we're known for is our trauma kits. So
I want to come back to that. I got one
That's
question
fine.
before I forget. Then we'll come back to the trauma kits,
Sounds
because
good.
I really wanted everybody to see the trauma kits. So the Central Indiana Police Foundation, what are the boundaries? Is it the metro Indianapolis area? Does it reach beyond the 9 counties?
Excellent question. So currently we are Marion County and all the contiguous counties. However, with the trauma kits, we keep getting asked by departments outside in Indiana, but outside of our territory. And so we have started on a mission to, I think the goal would be eventually to be able to provide trauma kits to every Indiana police department. But we are focusing in on Southern Indiana first. And we had an event where we had a couple speakers, and we've already raised $45,000 for that. And we are going to have an event to put those kits together and bring potential donors to help hopefully solicit more funds to finish off Southern Indiana and providing kits and training for all those officers.
So everything south of Indianapolis in Indiana?
It's a little bit more south. Yeah, it's not
all the way to the border?
It's all the way to the border, but we kind of did a jag.
So it's not all the way east and west, right?
It is all the way east and west, but it's not some of the counties that are close to our counties. It's just a kind of a jag of a thing.
Oh, okay. So now I know that Indianapolis Rotary had an event where we actually packed these things. So if you're interested in helping and you're with a not-for-profit, that might be one way to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have an assembly event luncheon coming up on the 25th of March at the FOP. And so we have the Daughters of American Revolution as a group that are coming to help put those kits together and learn about them. But we've invited several other potential donors to come and experience it and to learn, because when they hear the stories from the police officers and how they've saved lives and saved police officers' lives as well as citizens, people get excited and they never know that the kit that they put together may be the kit that was used to save someone's life.
So how many kits have gone out to police departments in Central Indiana so far, would you say?
I would say about 4,300.
Wow. That's just mainly in the contiguous counties, so that's a big percentage.
Over the last few years, yep.
Okay, then let's talk about the kit itself.
So this is actually, there was a lot of research that went into this kit, from every item that's part of it, and even the bag. So the bag is custom made for us. And so when we know we're going to need them, we have to order them in advance, because it takes at least a month and a half to 2 months sometimes.
Has the supply chain thing gotten in the way of that at all so far?
I don't think so.
Not yet.
I just placed an order and I didn't get it when I was supposed to. So I did reach out, and I'm not sure if it was a supply chain issue or our order got lost. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So far it doesn't seem to be a problem. But the kit is made in such a way that you can store it on the headrest of the police car. And we tell everybody as part of the training to store this in the same place in their car. So if there's a sheriff and then there's a state police and they're both on a scene, if an officer needs additional parts to that kit, they know if they go into that department's car, the other neighboring department or other city, maybe sometimes two cities work together, they can find one of those kits in that car, that police car on the headrest.
Right away, yeah.
Right away. So this kit actually has everything but one piece, and that's because I was at an event where an officer told me that they had just used their bandage that was in their kit and needed another one. And so I grabbed my kit and took my bandage out and gave it to him because he's on the front lines and needed to have that. So this kit is minus a bandage.
A bandage, but it's got everything else.
Everything else.
Show the folks what's in it.
Yep. So one of the big pieces that's used very regularly is the CAT tourniquet. And this is a military grade tourniquet. You can get more inexpensive tourniquets, but they have been known to fail. And so we cannot take that chance of providing something that would fail. So we tend to buy the CAT tourniquet, which is approved by our U.S. government for military usage. And that's basically on an appendage. If there's been bleeding, these are used and the officers are trained to properly use these to stop that bleeding. And the whole theme of the kit is really to stop that bleeding overall. Whenever someone has a great amount of blood loss, their temperature goes down, and the longer that happens,
the more shock and so forth.
The more shock, the less likely they are to come back or less likely they are to survive if it's a massive bleeding. So we want to stop that bleeding. So if it's, for example, a bullet wound in the chest area or in the middle area, then we have what we call an Olace bandage. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly because I only order it. I don't talk to anybody about the name of it. But there may be a more French sounding.
How do you spell it? Do you know?
Olaes.
Okay.
But it is a bandage, and you will use it to either tuck into the bullet hole or the damaged area, or you can also use it as a wrap. But it will help the blood clot and stop the bleeding, or at least slow it down considerably until we can get that person into an emergency room. The other piece that we have are these shears. These are trauma shears, and these will cut a penny in two, I've been told. I haven't seen it happen.
Wow.
You definitely don't want to put your finger and close it.
Whoa.
But the idea is you can cut a seatbelt off, or with a police officer situation, a bulletproof vest, right? So that you can get to the damage.
Okay.
We also have a pair of gloves that they can use when they're caring for that patient. And we have an oral airway. So if someone has passed out and they need to do CPR, and then also, with the breathing part into their mouth, they can put this in and prop open their mouth so that they can focus on the compressions and then come up and breathe into their mouth without having to hold their mouth open and their neck open, so they can continue to keep the hands on the chest. But you only want to use this when the person is completely unconscious.
Okay.
So recently, you may have heard there were two officers near the fairgrounds that were, it was an ambush. Gentleman called, told him he was being attacked, which was not the truth, and then he attacked the officers with knives and stabbed both officers. And one particular officer was stabbed in the neck a couple times. Thank God it missed any, the major veins, but using the bandages was crucial in saving his life.
Oh, awesome.
And the other officer, they used the bandage, although he was not as bad of shape, but that kit was most recently used for the officers.
So, and they had these with them. You had these kits with them.
Yes. And they're in their car. I'm sure he had to run to his car.
Right.
Because what happened was those two officers were stabbed. They called Mayday, so to speak, and then the arriving officers knew that they had been stabbed and grabbed their kits as they run.
Did they catch the guy?
They did.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good,
they did.
Good.
And I think he had some mental illness and had some other issues.
I'm sure.
So,
So I was going to say, give us some stories.
yeah.
That's a very recent story.
That is.
Give us a couple more, and what have been the reaction of the police departments?
Yeah, so the police departments love them. Again, I get calls from police departments outside of our territory all the time wanting the kits. And if I can provide them, I've been providing them up to this point, and now we're making the big push to raise the funds to do that. One of the big stories, and it's actually a video, the officer has been videoed, Sergeant Morgan, on our website, where he had just received the training and received his kit within a couple weeks. He gets a call that a young child had a severed leg from a train. And so he parks his car. He's trying to figure out where, and he grabbed his kit. He parked his car. He had to go back through shrubbery and up a hill and thorns and everything else. He tells the story, and he doesn't hear anything. And he finally gets there, and there she is laying alongside the railroad track. Here she is, and here her leg is down the track. And so he had the tourniquet. He placed the tourniquet on her. Fortunately, some people had already arrived, and they had used a belt, which helped.
It helped a little.
But it wasn't like the tourniquet and what the tourniquet can do because you have a twist type lever that makes that tourniquet extremely tight. But he saved her life, and she was about 10 years old. It's been a few years ago. She now has a prosthetic leg because they were not able to reattach her leg. It was too much damage. And she's a straight A student. She has been competing in Olympics for people with missing limbs. I don't remember the name of that type of program.
Paralympics, I think.
Yeah.
It sounds right.
So, and she does rock climbing, and she's it's just given her a lease in life. And she came from a real troubled childhood, and her grandfather was raising her and just given her some purpose. And she is doing phenomenally well. And Sergeant Morgan visits her from time to time and keeps in touch with her.
This is the policeman that did the work?
The policeman that did the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
cool.
then one other story I like to share is one of our SWAT team guys was on his way home from work, and he had a workout session or something at the end. He's on the highway. There was an accident on 465 northbound where a woman had wrecked and gone under a semi-trailer. Well, when she did that, it completely severed her arm off. Well, when our officer arrived, he saw she was losing color, her breathing was faint, et cetera, et cetera. He immediately applied the tourniquet, and there was like 5 more minutes before an EMT got there. Had he not been there with that tourniquet and put that on, she definitely would not have made it. And she's also doing pretty well, and been able to resume a normal life. So,
well, that's just fantastic. If you don't mind, what does one of these cost?
Okay, so
just so people know what you guys are up against in raising enough money to expand the program.
Absolutely,
Because it'd be nice if every policeman had these.
Absolutely. So these kits, they're run right around $100. It depends on how many I buy of the items. At one time I can get bulk discounts. I try to buy at a higher amount so that I get a greater discount and shipping cost. So we say right around $100, so that gives us a couple dollar wiggle room for the kit. So that's what we raise for each kit. So yeah.
So far, 4,300 kits times $100, right? That's the cost. So how do you guys raise money?
Okay, so we have fundraisers.
Tell us about the fundraisers.
Our biggest one that we just completed, which was our most successful to date, was Thanksgiving Breakfast with a Cup, where organizations will buy a table of 10 seats. One of those seats will be filled with a local officer. The rest will be filled with that person or company's colleagues or teammates. And then we have a speaker, and this year we had an officer who the kit had been used on, saved his life, and he had very crazy situation where basically the perpetrator threatened to kill him, told him, "Today's your day, you're gonna die." And the guy shot him, busted out his tooth, tore up his arm. He's had to have 6 surgeries, and he just talked a little bit about what he went through emotionally. in the counseling and to be able to get back to be able to service our citizens again.
Do we know how many police have been saved?
You know, I don't.
It's probably hard to do.
We could probably go through and get an estimate, but I know of 5 at minimum. I know of 5.
And
myself.
how many civilians have been saved?
Yeah, lots.
Like 50 or more?
Yeah, I mean, even the day when we were having the riots in May,
almost 2 years
ago now, some of those rioters who were one minute throwing frozen water bottles at officers and attacking them and cursing them. One in particular gal, she kicked a plate glass window, and that went just like in the movies. The glass came down and severed her femur artery.
Not a good move.
And then, of course, those people came to the officers to help take care of her.
Of course.
So they had their trauma kits and used the cat tourniquets and the bandages and saved her life.
Wow. Wow.
So,
wow.
yeah, a lot. And so the Breakfast with a Cop this year, we raised $267,000.
Awesome. By the way, before we forget, give us some contact information.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the Central Indiana Police Foundation.
Yeah, I will, for sure. And we've got a new fundraiser we're doing on the 17th of March this year. It's going to be at Havana Cigar Bar. And
I was just in the Fishers District last night.
Yeah, and so it's going to be a $50 door cost where you get a glass, some sort of a drink of high-end scotch or something to that effect. This is so not my world, but I have somebody who this is their world that's helping plan it. And you get a cigar, and then we'll sell some experiences with police officers. We'll raffle those off. We'll have a T-shirt, and I'm trying to get the Colts cheerleaders there. I think this will be a mostly male crowd.
This is March 17th.
March 17th.
Now, you know that's St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, we're going to celebrate that too, for sure. So, yeah.
So if somebody wants to go to that event, which is coming up,
yeah,
how do they do that?
You know what? We are just now putting together the advertisements. It'll be out on our social media and our Facebook site as well as our website soon.
Give us the website.
Okay.
And any other contact information you want to give out, phone numbers or whatever, if people have questions.
Absolutely. So my cell phone, use it wisely, 317-771-1605.
That's gutsy to give your cell phone.
Well,
God bless you.
It's for work. It never stops. And then I got the Apple Watch, so it's I need to turn off my notifications because it's driving me crazy.
I can tell.
So, but our website is the www. And it's our acronym CIPF.foundation. So that's a little unique. So CIPF.foundation is our website, and you can find all kinds of great information in our blogs and etc.
And you're saying this event on St. Patrick's Day is $50 at the door.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And you get a certain drink and a cigar as part of that, right? That's cool. That's cool. I take it, so do you have any other fundraisers besides the one that we just lost, we just missed?
Yeah.
And we got the one coming up. What else you got?
So we're trying another one that's new. It's going to be a self-defense class, and it's going to be focused on young people, especially going off to college. And that's going to be offered by a certified trainer, and that's going to be April the 30th on Saturday at Mount Pleasant Christian Church. And so we actually have the website. It's on the website, but it needs to be tweaked. It's not being shown right now. It's I've got it on hold. But we're working on nailing down the details, and that should be ready the 1st of next week.
April 30th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's $75 for a 2.5-hour class. We're kind of marketing to young ladies, but it's for anybody. I mean, anybody can come. So
the whole thing with going off to college and something bad happening.
Yeah.
You hear about this once in a while.
Yeah.
So
and my daughter's going off to college, so I have special interest in this, and she's about 95 pounds soaking wet. Little petite thing, and
where's she going?
Lipscomb University in Nashville,
Tennessee. The Bison.
She is a Bison. That's
yes,
true.
Yes.
We're so excited.
That's great.
I don't want her to leave.
Is she the oldest?
She is.
Yeah, I know. Have you seen that? There's a commercial. I think it might be in insurance. The girl's leaving for college, and the dad hugs her, and she gets in the car to go with whoever's taking her, but she makes the car stop and she runs back to the dad and says, "Thanks for everything."
I'm going to cry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She is my buddy in crime. I shouldn't say in crime because I work with police officers, but my shopping partner, and we lay in bed and talk, and so I can't believe she's going away to college. Although I'm excited, I would never tell her not to, but I'm going to have a hard time adjusting.
Well, she'll have a great experience.
Oh, yeah.
She will.
And it's a college that focuses on faith, and I think it'll be a good environment for her to learn.
And a small private.
Small private.
Is it the religious-based college?
It is.
What religion is it? Do you know?
Initially a Church of Christ
Okay.
school, which is pretty conservative, but they're not as conservative, I don't think, as they once were.
Well, no religion is.
No, I know, that's true. Nothing is as conservative as these.
So we've just got a couple of 3 minutes left.
Okay.
What else do you want to say about? Well, give them the contact information one more time for this fundraiser coming up in St. Patrick's Day, and then the self-defense thing, April 30th.
Yep.
If you're interested, go to.
Yeah, well, real quickly too, in August we're going to have a skeet shoot at the Indiana Gun Club, I think. So those details are being nailed down, and they'll be out on social media when ready, and that's going to be in August. So that might appeal to some folks too,
It might.
in competitions and groups competing. But 317-771-1605, and then CIPF.foundation is our website. We would love to talk with you. And if any of you are interested in putting these kits together and want to attend one of our upcoming events, to do that, we've got 2 of them, one local and then one, it's going to be in Southern Indiana. Let us know. We'd love to have you.
Well, what you guys and gals are doing at the CIPF, right? Central Indiana Police Foundation, especially with these kits, but also the officer interaction with the community.
Yeah, more important today than ever.
You're doing the Lord's work, and I commend you for it. So thanks for being our guest today, Lisa.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure. I appreciate it.
And next week, our guest will be Chris Busick, and I can't remember the other lady's name, but they are with the O'Connor House up in Carmel, and they do temporary housing for single mothers who have babies and keep the babies. And it's a wonderful place, so don't miss that show on the Indy's Trusted Servant Show every Monday at 3 o'clock. A new episode goes up. Once again, Lisa, Central Indiana Police Foundation, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show. If you liked this episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. The Indy's Trusted Servant Show is produced by InspireSmall.biz in Indianapolis, Indiana. For more episodes of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show, visit www.inspiresmall.biz/Indy's Trusted Servant. Thanks for watching.